Greeting, traveler.
I have no time for games.
The end is coming! Who am I?
Let me change your mind.
You require my assistance? Adios! We're gonna be rich.
I have no time for games.
Inferno! You require my assistance? Who am I?
Let me change your mind.
Good evening, everybody. It's that time of the week again. Yes, it's Wednesday. Yes, you get to start making your hump jokes. And yes, we are more than halfway through the week, so the weekend is nearly upon us. But it's also time for Tavern Talk, the show where we like to make bad takes and hot takes alike, sometimes simultaneously. I am, of course, one of your main hosts, J.R. Juggerlaw, and here with me tonight are my two usual co-hosts. Starting off, we've got ourselves the man, the OP. I'm sort of mad at him right now, but only sort of. He knows why. He knows why, and he's accepted it.
Yeah.
Say hello to Dr. Fish.
What's going on, everybody? I'm excited. We have playoffs next week for some series. All but one series goes into playoffs. One series that we don't cover, unfortunately, is going to finish up this week. So we've got final week of BGs. We've got final regular season for Legacy and Pro. This is going to be a bit of a longer one because we're going to cover we're also going to be covering the race for playoffs.
That is correct. We've got a bunch of stuff we're going to be talking about in regards to the playoff picture. But first, my other co-host, the man who I like to compare to both an element and a flower, sometimes both at the same time. Say hello to Geranium Battle.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Oh my God, playoff season is, leading into playoff season and then playoff season is some of the most exciting stuff that THL has to offer. Whether you're able to participate or not, even just looking at the storylines, looking at what people's chances are to get into playoffs, these next few weeks are going to be very, very hyped to watch.
Very much so. And shameless plug right about now, we've got it should be noted that Geranium actually did an article for this week talking about the likely playoff picture and the chances these teams have of actually making it to playoffs. Isn't that right, Geranium?
Yeah, I would say that a lot of the credit for authenticity here has to go to RoboCats, to Bunny. From THL, he made the algorithm. He looked at all the stats and the probability of sort of how these teams actually their chances sort of shake out. I just wrote the companion pieces with it, but it was very fun going through all 24 teams and their chances.
And a reminder, RoboCats is the brother of Obviously, so that should tell you that these are one dynamic pair of siblings.
Yeah, and they're both 1 seeds too.
They are, yeah.
Yes. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Astral Pog follows in the footsteps of his sister and eventually finds himself in the 1 seed. They're also a pretty dynamic pair. So,
yeah.
Let's see what happens. But we are going to start by talking about before we get to the playoff picture with Legacy, we will be talking about Hero first. Now, Hero, of course, being an 11-week regular season, we're getting into week 9. So after this week, there's still going to be 2 more weeks of the regular season before we get to the playoffs. And the Hero season will actually be the last season to end out of all of the series we have right now. So just a heads up with that. But with that said, let's get right to the action. So we'll be talking about the first Hero match, which is going to be I'll be talking about Dad Legend versus NPH. And as we see here, we've already got a result here between Koro Dad and Pasca, with Koro Dad taking the 3-2 over Pasca, who's having a fairly rough Hero season, unfortunately. And spoilers, I can relate to his pain at this point, but Koro Dad killing it with a 7-2 record right now, with one of the best performing players on the team this season, on Dad Legend this season, and he is taking names. It seems like this is going to be a pretty fun match, though. I do think Isocles verse is not first on par. Oh, come on. Dive it.
No, yeah.
That's true. Yeah, so we've got Isocles versus Agent PWE, Starlax versus Your Mum Kid, Yellow Dart versus Chewbacca, and Risen versus Snake Fods. All of these matchups to me look very close on paper. I feel like Isocles versus PWE is like, I give PWE the edge here because of his record, but these are both very high caliber players in Hero Series, and they are definitely going to bring their A game. Starlax versus Your Mum Kid is actually pretty cool. I do think that these guys are definitely 2 of the best 4 seeds we have in 2 of the best 2 seeds that we have in THL, and I definitely would give Starlax the slight edge, but we've seen Your Mum Kid just demolish people no matter the seed, so who knows what's going to happen. I do love that Yellow Dart is playing against Shu, because Yellow Dart is obviously, we're used to seeing him in a higher seed, but he's been playing the 4 and the 5 seed for Hero the last couple seasons, and that just seems wrong on several levels. But that's not to count Chewbacca out, because as we know, he is one hell of a player too. So I could see that along with the Risen versus Snakefots match to really go either way here. But I'm gonna say PWE, Chewbacca, and Snakefods win to give NPH a very close 3-2 victory.
Yeah, this one is definitely Dad Legend versus Agent Pee Wee the team. Agent Pee Wee is absolutely killing it this season in Hero, and is right up there at the top of crossover stats for a reason. I think it's very hard to argue against some of these players. Just taking, I mean, Starlux and Corden have just been also running camp on all the other hero teams, and so we see Pasca already falling, and your mom kid probably not far behind. I do think that Chewbacca, with the rogue here, has the potential to sweep if it's a really well played Garrote rogue or something like that. But if it's not, then I think Yellow Dart could even leave it up and sort of punish him for bringing a class that he might be suboptimal with. I do think I'm going to mostly agree with you. I think Agent Pee Wee, Chewbacca, and actually I'll say Snakefots in the 5. Windows and then Starlux and Corden are the 2 wins for Dad Legend.
I will say this, it's interesting looking at both these teams because they're both right in the middle of the pack right now. Dad Legend came into this week in 6th place, right behind Boulder Jams. And NPH came into this week in 7th place. So, sorry, excuse me, 8th place. 8th place. So they're pretty close in the standings, and with 3 weeks left, this match could actually have a lot of repercussions as far as the close playoff race. It seems that like at this point we know like most of the teams and how who's going to make it, but I mean, who knows? Maybe one of these teams will have a bad week and I'll be completely wrong. I don't know yet, but I'm excited to see how this is going to play out regardless.
Yeah,
Fish, what about you?
I think so. I'll just
For another 2 teams that are going to be high up in.
Hmm?
Hmm?
I just wanted to make a quick comment and about the at least what we have classes for. Oh, you are lagging. Okay.
That makes sense.
I was gonna say, I actually like the Rogue bring by Shu. I wouldn't. It has some. Even if you bring Quest Rogue, you have some good options with either removing the Druid or the Hunter, because that deck can do pretty well into some Shaman lists, and it's obviously really Rogue is generally really good in the Paladin. It's a close match. But in order for time, I'll just quick spout off who I pretty much agree with what these guys said. I think I wouldn't be surprised if Ked wins. Starluck's having a great season though, so I want to see him and Corden both bounce back after last week.
Yeah, it is correct to say we are going to be talking a bit more about sort of the playoff chances when we get to Legacy and Pro, since those are in their final weeks.
Yeah.
Are going into their final weeks right now. So it's going to be very slightly abridged hero talk, and that's why we're going to move on to my match, I believe, which is Even Without Turt, We Must Still Skirt versus Bands.
Skirt.
Make them dance.
Skirt. And
I
this
like
is
that.
actually an arguably more interesting match because both of these teams are actually fighting not just for their playoff spots, but they're fighting for one of those buys in the top 2.
Oh yeah, these are 2 of the top teams here in Hero right now, and as it stands, they're looking like they're both safe to make it into playoffs. But it's all about getting that all important bye and making sure that you get past the first week so that you can lose in the second week. Uh, right now,
Right.
bands make 'em dance started with sort of pretty terrible start to the season, and then once they switched out their 5 seed for Roadrunner, suddenly everything started shifting around. Everyone has a positive win right now. Bass Stink and Nails are absolutely killing it. Nails also right up at the top of crossover, and yeah, I think it would be hard to root against bands this week. Um, I think Astrofrog is going to take it over CMAC, uh, and probably Based and Nails being the other two that get wins.
This is a good one. I feel like the thing is, looking at bans, everybody on this team has a positive record, but Turt, but still Skirt is like not far behind, really. So it's tough. But for me, the big thing is like you've got Based and Nails in the 1 and the 2, and that's just insane. That's utter insanity. Nails being in the 2 is like, we've talked about some really dumb 2 seeds. Nails is really up there though, like for real. So it's like I feel like Bands is going to take this, and it's going to be Based, Nails, and Astropog who take the wins. So yeah, I think this could go either way, and I think the losing team is still going to get a decent amount of points. So I feel like both these teams are going to be at a good spot when the week is over.
Yeah, agreed. I think both these teams are going to be in a good spot. And I'm gonna go with Chicken in the 1, Nails in the 2, for the Clowns getting their wins in Hero. Maybe they'll get it in Pro 2. We'll have to see. Got Astral in the 3. I'm gonna go for Astral. Looking at classes, it's interesting with class. I'm sure Geranium would be able to tell me more about it because I can't do analysis off the top of my head with this stuff. But I think I'll pick Astral. I'm picking Seth, my boy Seth, to win down in the 4. It's gonna be a close one. 9 is an insane player. Seth, I know, is also very good. And then Skirt down in the 5. 3-2. Middle seeds for bands.
Yeah. For the classes there, Mage is maybe a little bit of a dud, but
Yeah.
I think Warlock and Hunter are big powerhouses.
They really are.
And just as long as he can get past the rogue, maybe with like even an Anaconda Druid or something like that, I think Astro wins.
As Diamond has said, 9 is fueled by League of Legends Worlds. We take it.
It's fair.
Yeah. True, Diamond. And yes, I said,
point,
and I said the word I'm not supposed to. Very, very apologetic, but I'm referring to a different game, obviously.
Yeah, a team-based series of Legends.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is looking. I will say with the classes, it's very interesting because one of the things I like about the meta right now is the fact that even if there's not a ton of deck options within each class, it does feel like the classes we're seeing a nice variety in terms of what's being brought.
Yeah.
We're seeing a decent amount of brings of various classes, but definitely not a must bring. And I feel like looking at the 3-seed match here is actually a good example of this, because the only class that both these players have in common is Druid.
Yeah.
Like, that just kind of tells you, very different thought processes.
Yeah. Only classes not represented is Warrior and Shaman.
No,
Priest.
Warrior, Shaman.
Warrior, Shaman.
Hold
on.
Priest. Yeah.
I was gonna say, 10 classes, 7 of them are represented.
Yeah, everyone has forgotten about Priest ever since Elucia got
reworked, yeah.
Wah, wah.
One team hasn't. That's in Legacy, but because they're named after the quest. Shout outs to Seek Guidance. Yeah, I think this is a really good match. Yeah, and we still have one more to go.
Yes, we do.
And I have picked at Diamond, hello Diamond in the chat, versus Bolner Jams 03. This one got
Another big like playoff contender,
this,
really.
this is like, nah, we're good. We're not
Eh,
that stuck on time, but
of
I
course.
will go a little bit faster through this. So matchups, we've got Justin versus Ron in the 1, Lotus Knight versus Donde in the 2, Mick versus Ted in the 3, Diamond himself versus Anfall in the 4, and we've got Ruski versus Quaz in the 5. So at Diamond has every player either 500 or above besides Lotus, who is having a surprising down season in Hero, but he still is 3-4. Boulder Jams is just kind of got this treading water. Got off to a really hot start. It's kind of the opposite of this team last season, where they started off poorly and kind of caught fire at the end. So we want to see, 3s and 5s for sure. 2 5 and 3s and 3 3 and 5. So Ted started off pretty poorly in Hero, and he's picked it up. Onfall and Quaz seem to be almost about 50-50. Ron and Donde are doing pretty well. Donde has settled, did cool off, but he did get the win last week, it looks like. So for Diamonds, for this matchups, Justin versus Ron is super interesting. Ron has kind of struggled a bit in Hero the last couple of weeks, and he has a very tall task ahead of him in Justin. And I think Justin's gonna take that one. Donde versus Lotus. That would be fun to watch on stream. Hint, we actually have it on stream tomorrow night. That's gonna be super interesting. Yeah, what a twist. I think it's kind of close to call. Lotus has been struggling, and Donde kind of broke his losing streak. It'll be interesting to see classes. I'm gonna refrain from picking that one. Mick versus Ted. I think Mick will take it. Diamond versus Onfall. That's gonna be super close. And I'm gonna go with Diamond. Go 7-2 and keep holding that number one PAR spot with a win. And then Ruski versus Quaz. I think that's close. Quaz is having a real good legacy season, but he's kind of struggling in Hero, it looks like. I'll pick Ruski for that one. So, all things said and done, I'm either picking a full sweep or a 4-1 at Diamond. That's something I didn't expect.
Something I didn't expect was that someone would actually agree with me on this full sweep. At Diamond is I think at Diamond's gonna.
I think the 5 seed is the close match. The 4 and 5 are both close.
I think that Ron Mexico is going to put up a fight against Justin.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't know if any of these matches are. Well, okay. I mean, these matches are definitely close. Like every single match of Hearthstone has super chances to go either way, depending on what class brings and everything like that. But I mean, people on that Diamond are just killing it. So, and one of these teams has Donde on it. So, easy pick.
It's fair. I mean, both these teams are really strong. At Diamond though, they're killing it this season. All right, Diamond's asking me to say we lose, so all right. Bolner Jams, I'm gonna say Ron, Donde, and Anful win their matches. And for the record, Diamond, I'm only betting against you because I'm hoping betting for Anful will help him lose in his legacy match that I need him to lose this week. Honorable. So otherwise, I would happily cheer for you here. I appreciate you understanding.
Nice. All right.
Oh, I didn't want to get... That's fair. I forgot the caster curse is very real, unfortunately. Anything else we want to add before we move on to Legacy?
We got a lot to talk about.
I was going to say, yeah, we should probably move it along. So, Legacy, we got ourselves a playoff picture. Fish will be putting up the standings momentarily.
Yeah, I was just resizing it. We're all good. If you need me to make it bigger, let me know.
I think we should be good for now. So,
Okay, cool.
going into this week, we talked about this last week how there's pretty much a big fight for the top 4 spots in each conference. Top 4 teams are going to make it into the playoffs with the top seeds and with the top finishers, along with the top finisher among the 2 seeds, among the second place finishers, getting a bye. So right now it is looking like the top seeds are not completely decided, which I like. For the Gold Conference, that seems to be the only one where it looks like the team that's going to win is not completely decided, but very likely to. That being the Golden Wisps. They're 7-1. They're 11 points ahead of the second place team, the Cult Legacy, and that 11 points is going to be hard to make up in 1 week. So I think it's more likely that it's most likely that Wisps are going to stay on top. As for the remaining teams, I feel like, basically the bottom 3 are pretty much out of it. I think the big question is going to be those 3rd and 4th spots, because technically PLE and the Light Showers can still find themselves behind both Defias and Dad Legend.
Don't remind me.
I know, right? Sorry.
Yeah.
But ultimately I do think it's going to be I think it's going to be close. I'm going to say that I think Dad Legend is just going to miss, and it's going to be Golden Wisps, Cult Legacy, PLE, and the Light Showers, and Defies Brotherhood in that order for the playoff spots. What about you guys? We'll take it conference by conference.
Yeah, Gold Conference is really just a tale of 3 teams right now: Agent P, Defias, and Dad Legend for sure. Mm-hmm. I detailed a lot of playoff chances in my big article. Shameless shout out. But
no such thing.
Yeah, I personally feel like Agent PLE has the hardest team to go up against, Cult Legacy right now, whereas Defias is going up against Serenite Pain Gang. Dad Legend is going up against Meme Dream Team. So both of those teams are going up against teams in sort of the bottom 3 of Gold Conference. And so Agent PLE, like, unless Dad Legend loses to Meme Dream Team, Agent PLE kind of has to win, or at least do a very good loss. So I think actually Agent P is the most likely to be eliminated here. If things go how I'm imagining them. So I'd be Golden Wisps, Cult Legacy, Defias, and Dad Legend for my top 4, I think.
All right. And Fish, what about you?
Wisp taking the bye. Cult Legacy, Ellie, and Defias.
Simple as.
Yeah, I just think that you guys are gonna. I think you guys will win this week, but not bad enough to knock Cult out. And I think Defias will win and get more points than Dad Legend. So, yeah, it's because Defias has Serenite Pain Gang this week, so they are very likely to get big points, which they can't catch up. They can't quite catch Golden Wisp because Golden Wisp will get points this week. But they can do a good job of Defias could even contest for that 2 spot depending on how the other matches roll out. Yeah.
Because there is a cross-conference bye spot. The top scoring team that is not the number 1 in their conference will get a bye as well.
For sure. All right. We've only talked about only gold, all right? So we're gonna move into red. I guess from here.
Go for it.
Sure. So Red Conference is looking super interesting. So
Yep.
Bluefish before this week came in the top spot. Seek Guidance has taken a match win already this week. So that is why the points are. That's why they look like they're in first place, but they are actually technically second place going into this. Team Justin, F2L White, Chaos Theory Cooler. Really, this is a kind of a battle between F2L, Chaos Theory, and the Cooler. Where I think Team Justin, Bluefish, and Seek Guidance will all score enough points to win, to make the playoffs, because coming in 10 points ahead of a team, unless you're going head to head and get blown out, which actually might be the case. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at. I didn't quite look at all the
It doesn't
matchups.
matter. It doesn't matter. Realistically speaking, Team Justin is locked because there's no way that two of these teams are going to pass them.
Yeah,
There's no
I
way.
think so. So it just comes down to picking, and we'll talk about the Red Conference match when we get there. But I think it's going to be a very close race.
Yeah, Team Justin is like over 90% to make it.
Yeah.
And technically, Bluefish and Seek Guidance also had chances to not make it, but like it's so.
It's
Now it's
it's so
impossible.
unlikely since Seek Guidance has has some points this week. Very unlikely.
Super duper. Yeah.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like you'd have to basically be completely shut out for any chance to happen, and the other teams would have to have an amazing week. So it's like while it's technically possible,
Yeah.
realistically, it's not going to happen.
For sure.
It's just not.
Oh, I agree. I think that the top three are pretty locked and loaded, and will be making playoffs.
It's a question of who gets that fourth spot, and the
Yeah.
points between those three teams are so close that it really is anybody's game. The matchups for this week. Let's just confirm who are these teams playing.
So
So Chaos Theory is playing the Cooler, and F2L White is playing Bluefish.
Okay,
yeah.
interesting.
So Chaos Theory is like literally fighting directly against their competitor, whereas F2L White has a little bit of a worse time because they not only need to win against Bluefish, they need to hope that Chaos Theory or the Cooler don't win very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Chaos Theory takes it.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it to them. Just because I think they have a better chance of winning over F2L, and if F2L loses and they win, they're pretty much locked at that point. So, yep.
Yeah. Then in Silver Conference, there's actually quite a lot that could happen. There's 5 teams. Oh, sorry.
Nah, I'll just say those three, and I think F2L. Actually think F2L gets in. I like their matchups. I like how they match up with Bluefish player wise. So, I think they'll get enough and they'll squeak in.
Interesting.
I'll say the Cooler to be cool.
Awesome. We'll go with
and
it.
different from you guys.
Take it. I like it.
Yeah.
Mako and Snipe Hunter carrying from the 4-5.
We'll talk about it more when we actually get to the Red Conference.
Definitely.
Just remember, Cooler was Freezer, and Freezer was Cooler.
All right, yeah. Now into Silver.
10 points to anybody who got that reference.
With Silver Conference, there are actually kind of 5 teams in contention. IDK, because of last week, unfortunately.
Don't remind me.
I'm not trying to, but yeah, kept sort of a lot of people in the race here. IDK definitely still has the highest chance to get through, over like 70% to get through, but then Not Justin, Dirty Mike and the boys, Amberflight Gaming, and even Hot Zilfs have realistic chances, above 10% chances to make it into the top 4 here. So it's really hard to say. I mean, Not Justin and Dirty Mike and the boys are directly fighting this week, and IDK and Hot Zilfs are directly fighting this week. Amberflight Gaming is fighting against Redfish, so they actually have maybe an easier opponent. Who knows? But I kind of think that it's going to be Not Justin and AFG that make it to playoffs.
I'm disappointed in you,
especially-
Geranium.
I know.
Especially because AFG actually has a good 4 seed this week. So
Wow.
I have a sub this week. I shouldn't degrade myself like that. I shouldn't talk down about myself. I'm
Yeah, it
joking.
wouldn't be the first time.
No, but I have a really good sub who has graciously come in to play for me while I had to sub out in 2 of my series.
Okay, well, I mean,
But
maybe
why?
even
I have
more
I have a
of
project. I have a school project that I've been working on all week. So I
Um,
really only have time to play my hero. I really wanted to just keep playing hero, and I could sub the other 2. Yeah, especially because my wild team's not making playoffs.
rip.
But
Well,
looking at this,
Well, JR from IDK and Dr. Fish from AFG. What do you guys?
I think Wallet Warriors and All Pros Missing are all but locked, right? That's like it's just who's gonna get the buy and
Yeah,
they go
it's a
head
question of who
they
gets
go
the bye.
they go head to head this week, which means that Wallet Warriors has a pretty good chance of holding the buy after this week.
Yeah, that's the part that sucks. If my team was in a better position, this match would actually have more of a potential impact on the standings. But unfortunately, it does not.
Yeah.
It does have an impact as far as the bye goes, which is obviously important, but it doesn't actually have any ramifications as far as who is making playoffs.
Yeah.
Both these teams are basically locked, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's gonna be a fun match to watch either way, but yeah.
Yeah. I think our teams make it. I think my team just pulls out. I think my team has capabilities to pull a big week. Our players are hitting their are hitting their strides and they're like with Ron winning. Yeah, I think Ron won last week.
He did.
Itachi
was the only one who
was the
didn't
only
win
player
last
on our
week.
team who lost. Saku won last week too.
And he lost to me, which makes it even
yeah, Itachi. Yeah, you guys had a pretty interesting match. What
Yes,
I
we
was
did.
told. But
well.
I'm at least for AFG, I'm more just interested if I just want to see Neji get that 9-0. Obviously,
Dr. Fish.
obviously,
Again,
I
he becomes
want
the
my
second player to
team.
do that.
I want my team to get in. Like it's tough to say. It's tough to really call my team to go in when not Justin and Dirty Mike are also there. It would take them being like it would take not Justin and Dirty Mike having a super close week for us to actually realistically get in. I would lean almost more towards IDK in the winner of that match. But if we win 4-1 or somehow full sweep, then we should make playoffs off of that.
It's very close. You
It's
guys
gonna
are
be so interesting.
you're basically going to be relying on passing whichever team whichever team wins, and not Justin versus Dirty Mike and the boys.
Yeah.
Because you guys passing us is possible, but 7 points isn't the easiest gap to make up.
It's
So
not.
that's the tricky
No, 7.
part.
That's why I'm thinking Wallet Warriors. That's why I'm
My
thinking that
team's
Wallet
goal
Warriors
for this
actually
week
gets
is to
it.
just get as many points as possible. If we get a
100%.
decent amount of points, even if we lose, we could definitely still make it.
Yeah.
That's really the goal right now.
Definitely.
7 points feels like a lot, but honestly, like a win on the week is almost 7 points already.
Yeah.
Just because it's one more win, so that's like 2 to 3 more points. And
Yeah.
Yeah, I know
Like,
technically, yes,
but
but
it's so
we've.
yeah. We'll see.
This is why I just want my team to win, because we win, we're guaranteed to make it. It's just that simple. We're winning in.
Definitely winning in for you. Same thing with Agent P, my team. You know, that's the thing though, is if we don't win, then we're scared.
I'm just for me, it's like nerve wracking. I went into last week thinking that we were going to beat AFG, and then all of our losses except for one were sweeps. It was just utterly miserable.
Yeah. it was, especially my game was brutal. My match, like it was just a weird series where I just kind of hit all the I kind of just hit what I needed to get to win the match in a sweep. Like I think if that match gets played a bunch of times, I think it doesn't. I think it rarely ends in a sweep, but that was like the one case. And the other matches also, I didn't get to see how close they were. But yeah, it was quite close. It might have been quite close for some of them. Um, but why don't we go into the matches for the week? And we can continue talking about everything. Got this off. Got it on. All right.
So what is up first?
We're gonna start in the Silver Conference. We're gonna start with JR's match to talk about.
Yes, and that would be Dirty Mike and the boys versus Not Justin. Obviously, we just talked about these guys have the exact same amount of points. The team that wins is likely, but not guaranteed, to make it to playoffs. And both these teams are having very different kinds of seasons because Dirty Mike and the boys is 4-4, whereas Not Justin is 2-4-2. So very different situations. On paper, I'm giving this to DMB because they've got somewhat better records. And I feel like they're in just a pretty good position right now. Based on the individual matches, I'm going to say Kazgar takes it over Mr. Beluga. Button takes it over Astropog. Jimbo takes it over Megu. Tony Montana takes it over Pyro. And then Lefty over Ari. So I think DMB takes this one 3-2. But yeah, I think it's going to be good. Definitely good.
We do see classes for Kazgar, Mr. Beluga, Tony Montana, and Pyro. I will say for Kazgar, Mage is a very heads-up play, facing Warlock and Warrior, which are two extremely favorable matchups for Mage.
Yep.
But and the Druid feels maybe a little weak into Warlock and Warrior. But for Tony Montana, the Mage is not a very heads-up play. Looks like Pyro is bringing more aggressive focused decks. Like the Shaman even doesn't have to be a Quest Shaman. So I feel like already those classes are making it look like Pyro's going to take it and Kazgar are.
Really?
Yeah.
The Mage is a bad call into... I mean, you generally like 50-50s with Ellie Shaman, and it's really good into Paladin. I mean, yeah, you can just bring Doomhammer, but at that point, like, sure, it's one good matchup into Mage. Paladin can't really target Mage besides Secret Paladin, which is still generally okay to play. Druid, if it's aggro Druid, Mage is kind of still fine. DH is the only class I think I would worry about for Mage.
I mean, yeah, you can literally just bring 4 Mage counters, though, in Pyro's lineup.
I guess. Yeah, you can bring, like, Miracle. I don't know how Paladin... I guess I don't quite know how Paladin does it besides Secret. But yeah, otherwise, you can kind of do that. Yeah, I mean, I guess you can see that would kind of be difficult to win. I think... I don't know. I would have to relook at things to make an actual good call for predictions.
I mean, it's tough.
Other than that, though, I think even though Asher Frog has the better record, Auto Button is just a fantastic player. We saw him switch between the 2 and the 1 last season. We saw him go like 10-1, I believe, in the 3 2 seasons ago. I think that the Auto Button and Pyro are going to win, and that's sort of going to be the core that brings Not Justin to a win and playoffs.
I could see that.
Yeah, it's none of these matches really like what I like about this match is that it feels very close. It feels like it could really go either way very easily.
Yeah. Definitely close. This match is gonna have big implications in Silver Conference. Pretty much every match besides like, I guess actually every match has playoff implications. Even the top seeded teams going against each other, could yield a different bye team potentially. But yeah, Silver Conference is super interesting, very exciting. We literally could have covered every single Silver match, but we have to. But every conference has really good matches going on. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at the Red Conference match for the week?
Yeah. In the article that I wrote about playoff chances, I sort of copy pasted Chaos Theory and the Cooler, but I don't think they have exactly the same sort of chances here, just by how things line up. With all the points that Lawful Dog has been getting for Chaos Theory, and Isocles in the 3 versus Bremen, I think that they have a little bit more of a favored setup here. Even 2-star Mako with a better record. Kotomora in the 5 is so powerful and has been for multiple seasons. But I do think that Snipe Hunter and even Icer will win on the cooler side. I just think that those 3, Lawful Dog, Isocles, and Kotomora, will make it so Chaos Theory has the higher chance.
Well said. Well said.
Mako being a Legacy 5 should be illegal, but this team makes it work. This guy.
So it is funny because his first season of THL, he was a 4 seed. Remember?
Yeah, but when I started playing THL, Mako was I believe he was the 2 seed for Hearthstone Academy. I think you're right about that actually. When I started playing, which was the season they had Duin as a 5, which was also very disgusting.
Yes.
But anyways, back to this match. I think Cooler takes it in the 4-5, and I think Chaos Theory holds down the 1 through 3, and it goes to Chaos Theory. It'll be close points wise, and then by then it'll just come down to if F2L can hold up or can get enough points to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think this is definitely going to be more on the close side, which means F2L has a chance if they do win against the top team in the conference.
Top team from the conference, yeah. The margin's so much smaller, I guess it feels like, even though it's really not. I think every conference kind of has that same standings going on, but
yeah, we could see Chaos Theory and F2L tie if they both win too. That's an interesting thing.
True, and then I think that I don't know who won that matchup in the regular season, so
I'll quickly go back.
Sure. I will be pulling up the next match in my for transition.
The only thing I do want to say is that Chaos Theory, I've been waiting for this team to make playoffs for quite some time, so I really do hope this is that time.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Because this is arguably the best they've ever been.
Yes, it would be the best they've been, because last season they had the exact same roster with a different 1 seed. And they
minus Lawful Dog, I think.
Yeah,
right?
They had Ron instead of Lawful Dog. And Ron Ron did not have a good season. He's been really struggling. Really struggling in Legacy the past 2 seasons.
I was gonna say Hero. He's on an absolute tear.
Hero, he's been doing really well for sure. But I'm happy to see this team in that contention in the last week. I think last season they kind of they felt just short of being in contention last season by the end.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see like the Cooler is competing in this as well. Like F2L White signed like the way that they built their team, I kind of expected them to be fighting for a playoff spot or have one. But they're not even guaranteed. It would be whichever one of these teams makes. Obviously, they're gonna deserve it. They're gonna earn it this week. So let's see how it plays out, and very excited to see. I'm excited for every playoff team.
Super quick before we move
Yeah,
on to gold.
sure.
If they do end up tying again, Chaos Theory did beat F12
Okay.
White.
Gotcha.
So.
Yep. So tie favors Chaos Theory. Awesome. So we have talked about gold, silver, and red, and now let's go to gold conference. We have Dad Legend versus Meme Dream Team. Very much considered Agent PLE versus the
Cult
Legacy. But I wanted to spotlight the team that is gonna be trying to climb their way in, which is Dad Legend versus Meme Dream. We have matchups are Honest Zabe versus Easy Bake, Your Mum Kid versus Mini. We've got Ducharmo versus Interval, Blue Spartan versus F Srirachi 1, and Haster versus Mycurse. So this is kind of Meme Dream Team's week to play spoiler. And I think I'm not sure if they're going to be able to. I think that Dad Legend has some significant advantages in a couple of seeds. So I think that I'm gonna predict Zabe and Ked to win. And from there, either Ducharmo, Blue Spartan, or Haster have to win to at least get that 3-win mark and be very close. If not just straight up win the week from it. I think Dad Legend will have a pretty good week here. I think I'll pick F Srirachi is a very good player. He did really well against me this season. I think I would favor Ducharmo to win over Interval, but Interval is a very good player who is maybe unfamiliar to some people, but he's been doing quite well for himself. So I will say, like, at the least the top 3 Dad Legend seeds will win. I'll pick them to win.
Yeah, Honest Zabe was performing a little bit under what he's known for at the beginning of the season. He's definitely brought that back more recently. He even dipped to the 2 seed for just a second there, but now, Honest Zabe and Your Mum Kid in the 1 and 2 are just so powerful. I think that they're both going to win. It's just a question of whether the bottom 3 seeds of Meme Dream Team can really make a difference, or an upset in the top 2. We've seen plenty of upset this season in gold.
I don't think this would be the craziest upset to see, frankly, because even though I do think the 1 and 2 are definitely favored for Dad Legend, we've seen even the most unlikely of situations, sometimes players find that they hit their stride at the very end. And especially Easy Bake, I think, is one of the more underrated 1 seeds in my personal opinion. So as good as I think Zabe is, I wouldn't count Easy Bake out of it.
Yeah, I actually was going to maybe reverse my Easy Bake versus Honest Zabe opinion just from this season, just from Honest Zabe's play this season. But man, I've faced both Ducharmo and Interval, and oh my god, they're both really, really good. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to really pick. I just really hope that Meme Dream Team can put it down.
Yeah, you need Meme Dream Team to put in the work and to keep Dad Legend out of the picture, so that way you have a better chance. Yeah, that way your team would, if Dad Legend doesn't get a lot of points, and you guys have a decent week, you guys should be guaranteed at that point. So I think it's gonna be tough. I think
Super close.
it's gonna be a close one. So keep an eye. I mean, every conference has something to keep an eye out for. This is definitely one of the only times where I've been able to look and just be like, this isn't the only time we've ever been able to do this. But for 3 conferences to have this many, like, must pay attention to matches. Obviously, we can't show every single match. We'll have as many matches on stream as possible, but it's definitely going to be worth checking out to see how these matches play out. I think I think that I think we're gonna see we might see some real shocking results this week, and that'll be really fun to shake things up before playoffs. So this is gonna conclude the legacy portion of our show. So we are going to do a quick commercial break to give you some more information about THL, and then we will go right into our next series after that.
So many legacy teams to talk about. Now it's time to talk about so many commercials, because thank you so much for tuning in to Tavern Talk. If you're enjoying the show, make sure you check out Around the Saloon on the Maniacal Tournament Series on Mondays and running Tuesday on Heart Center, and something that you'll never get. Are you still asking, where's my content? Well, we're seeing THL matches each night from Thursday to Sunday, starting 8 or 9 p.m. Eastern. All the matches will be tournament caster availability. Side effects may include knowledge and fun. But wait, that's not all. We also have incredible matches on weekend afternoons on Schoolstone. Precise time days are subject to availability. And we have the new show, Wild and Out, talking about everything going on with Wild. It is going on into playoffs in Wild as well. So that means it is going to be a very hype episode this week if you tune in on Thursday. And speaking of which, we have... please consider subscribing to our Twitch channel. This subscription enables the THL team to cover the various costs of operating our website and improve the quality of our streams and content to our viewers. And I see someone asking in our chat, what is Twitch Prime? Thank you very much, Fish. Well, if you have Amazon Prime or Prime Gaming, you can sub to the channel for free. It's the little purple button right below the stream. You can click it, just a few clicks, and you'll get a free Twitch Prime sub going to our channel. So hit that hard button and keep the notifications on to make sure you catch our team streams live. We appreciate each and every one of you, especially in order to reviews. Check out THL's other social media points. The website is at teamhearthlegends.com. Follow us on Twitter at THL_HS. Join us on Discord at Team Hearth Legends. The THL POW podcast is MIA, just like those short acronyms. And you can catch Players of the Week every single week. And another little shameless plug, maybe shameful plug, on that website, Team Hearth Legends, there is a blog, and I recently made that big blog post talking about all the different teams in Legacy. I know we only covered 6 of them just now, but more of the chances and sort of what's been going on with them throughout this entire season.
Well, thank you so much for that information, and we will now be
Very informative.
Yeah, we will move, and especially the side effects of knowledge and fun. We are here for that. And speaking of fun series to pay attention to, it is the Pro Series, our open deck list, standard format, conquest format. My apologies. And this series is also going to playoffs next week. And we have the standings up on the screen. Apologies for last week's not having it, but we have it this week, everybody. We are at the fun. We are here at the end of Pro. We have some very interesting races going on. It's a bit more cut and dry in some situations.
Yeah.
It's not quite as like super exciting as Legacy is, but there are still some important matches to talk about. We have Black Conference here. Starting up at the top, we have For the Clowns, Brushy Tuna, and then we have it looks like Bread Ape. No pros here, sitting in that 4th spot, looking to hold on for the playoffs. We've got Sushi Rats. Those are really the realistic teams, the 5 teams that will be fighting it out for seeding and for playoffs. There is no buys, so it's just to see who can get the highest seeding at that point. So it's realistically, because I think that the top 3 teams are probably pretty locked. It's just a matter of seeding for them, and it's going to be kind of between No Pros here and Sushi Rats who is going to get there. And yeah, unfortunately, Make Love Not Warcraft, sitting at 92, cannot get points this week. They're on the bye, so they will be... So it'll be kind of seeing if they end up in that bottom spot, unfortunately. They have the lowest points per week. These guys really put up a fight this season. It just didn't end up going their way. Pro is so stacked. Like, we'll say it over and over. Most people will say it over and over. It's very, very strong players on every single team. And I think NPH just has such a big advantage coming in with an 11-point lead that I think that the top 4 are what we're going to see in the playoffs.
I will say this: when it comes to the standings right now, I think Pro really is still very exciting, but in a different way. I think when you consider the caliber of the teams that are involved, it's still really exciting stuff. A lot of the big names are still in this, but we've also got some less prominent teams that haven't been as prominent in Pro Series, like say No Pros here, for instance, in Aussie Pro Mafia, that are really making big strides right now. I would also make the argument that part of the reason Pro is naturally going to be a bit less exciting is not its own fault, because it's just a result of as you said, Fish, the structure of this series. Because unlike in Legacy, there aren't any buys, and the seeding, while being relevant, isn't necessarily going to determine all that much, considering that if we look at the standings here, if we go by the teams that are currently that would currently make playoffs at this moment, 7 out of the 8 teams have at least 5 wins under their belt.
Nah, Pro does have buys, unlike the other series. But I think you were saying that you were saying that
buys in playoffs.
Yeah. Oh, no buys in playoff. Yeah.
No
that
buys in playoffs.
Yeah, Pro.
Yeah.
Pro and Wild are the only 2 series that don't have buys in the playoffs. Yeah. So there's no. You're not playing. You're like, obviously playing for seed is great.
Yes,
that makes sense.
It's relevant, but like I only bring it up because when I look at the fact that, like, let's say For the Clown stays at the top spot,
yeah,
and they wind up playing the 4 seed from Pink Conference, which right now is looking likely to be either Sheepies or Aussie Pro Mafia. Would it really be that hard to believe if an upset was pulled off there, considering both of those teams' records right now? I would say probably not. I would say that would actually, like, both of these teams are having very strong seasons, and it really is anybody's game. So looking at that, right, exactly, Bone Masher gets it. The seeding doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, you're going to be playing against a good team. So it is exciting, but obviously you're just looking to make the playoffs right now. How you finish isn't necessarily going to be all that beneficial to you. I will say I do find it interesting, though, that especially for the Black Conference, any team, 3 teams really have a good shot of getting that top seed. So I'm still looking forward to seeing what the final outcome is and what the matchups are going to be. But for right now, I think now is a good time to move on to the actual matches themselves that we'll be discussing.
Actually, really quick before we move on, I do want to say that No Pros here is facing against For the Clowns, the top team in Black Conference, and
they have
Sushi Rats.
Oh, yes.
Sushi Rats is facing, I believe, Bread Ape.
Bread Ape, yeah.
So it's not even super duper out of the question for No Pros here to miss playoffs.
They already have 4 points this week already. So,
they've gotten
Nails got swept.
Yikes!
So,
Never mind.
Well, he was playing Ked. It's not like it was that unexpected. He probably
Nails has just been having a
real good season.
But well, it's Nails. He's always been. I'm just saying, like, against your mom, Ked, that's a loss I could have foreseen, but a sweep I would not have guessed. And plus, Nails has been on an absolute tear in the most recent season. So, yeah, definitely a surprise in my eyes.
Okay, well, I lied. I was going to say that No Pros here has a chance to not make it. I think this makes it a lot less likely.
Yeah.
But on Pink Conference 2, I mean, Sheepies versus Undivided, I think, is also not not super out of the question. Undivided is facing Aussie Pro Mafia, whereas Sheepies is facing F2L.
Yeah.
And I think like the results of both of those matches could actually still shake things up.
This is true. There's not as much on the line, and things are less likely to shift around, but there's definitely some good stuff.
Yeah. I think it's tough for me to say that the top 4 for Pink will not just like stay the same by the end of the week. But we'll have to see how it plays out. I think as is, I think that the top 4 teams that are currently in our standings are going to be the top 4 that enter playoffs. That's going to be our 8. It could change. If Undivided has a big week, or F2L has a big week, and Aussie Pro Mafia has a tough week. Well, I guess because if Aussie Pro Mafia gets beat pretty bad, it could happen. And same with Sheepies if F2L gets a good week over Sheepies. As is, it's going to be tough for either team to climb that type of hill. It would have to be a very, very big week win.
Definitely agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get into
Yeah.
the matches like you guys have been.
Yeah, sorry about that, Geranium. I forgot you hadn't. I didn't give you a chance to interject.
I got my chance.
Mm-hmm.
Now you did.
First match is this one. We're gonna do I'll do our 2 black conference matches first, and we'll end on and we will end in the pink conference. So first match up. JR can go over this one.
Yes. So as we said before, Bread Ape is playing Sushi Rats. And as we mentioned, Sushi Rats they've got a tough spot, but a big win here could actually put them in playoffs. And Bread Ape, of course, we're coming in. These guys are the champions of last season. Obviously they were the Tap Washers, but now they changed their name. But now they're, of course, now they're Bread Ape. And they are on a pretty big tear this season. 5-2. They've got 2 players with only 1 loss. And a solid lineup from top to bottom. Even with Oof. Oh, come on, Ufric. No, Ufric, you're 2-5, but you're still really good. Stop it. And on the other side, of course, we've got Sushi Rats, who I think is mostly the same roster, if I remember correctly. I think Sprinkle's the only name I don't recognize.
I believe so.
But yeah. I think this one is I gotta favor Bread Ape here. Sushi Rat's definitely not in a bad position to pull off an upset, but I do think with Heat Shock and Valdas really killing it right now, and if both these guys win, just one other person from their team needs to win, and I definitely think that they've got a good shot. So I'm gonna say Heat Shock, Valdas, and I'm gonna say Avi take wins. With Hickett and Sprinkle winning on their side, and I'm going to say Bread Ape takes this one 3-2. It's only because people aren't subbing GFs at the 5.
Yeah,
Okay, that's pretty good.
Some weird tactics from Hyper Horizon last season.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I mean, this is the consequence of Sushi Rats going up against the previous previous season's champions in Bread Ape, switching in Avi. It's just not going to look very favorable for them. I will also favor Bread Ape.
Yeah, I haven't made a bold prediction so far, but I'm agreeing with Chicken. It's bring out the brooms, ladies and gentlemen. I'm calling the sweep for Bread Ape. Going hot into playoffs. For obvious, for sure. The way he instant. So C-Mac just won his match in Hero. Congratulations, C-Mac. Um,
All right, all right, all right, all right, all right.
so yeah, I think Bright Ape's taking a big one this week. I think that would give Bright Ape the 1 seed going into playoffs. But like we said, seeding doesn't really matter too much. You're playing a good team no matter what in the pro playoffs. So definitely gonna be interesting.
Wow, C-Mac taking it over Astral Frog. That already invalidates my prediction for Hero.
Yeah, I know. I think I predicted. I don't know if I predicted that match, to be honest. But because I know there was one match I actually didn't predict. So yeah, we're gonna move. Or if anyone else doesn't have anything else to say, we can go to the next one.
Yeah,
I think I'm good.
Sushi Rats has a chance to make it into playoffs. I just don't think against Bright Ape that will happen.
Yeah. So we have one more Black Conference match to talk about. And Chicken is gonna be quite happy to see that we are talking about his team again for the Clowns versus No Pros here. We have Mr. Nails versus your mum Ked up in the one, and Ked has taken a 3-0 sweep. We've got Pascoa versus Agent PWE. We've got Neji Boston versus Lolnenko. We've got Super Chicken versus Kaz1291. And we've got Senior 5C German Shep versus Xkume down in that 5 slot. Will this be the week that Shep moves out of the 5C? Who knows? Because if anybody loses for the team, they will, and Shep wins, he will move out of the 4, or he'll move up out of the 5. So interesting week for sure. I think I don't think Clowns is gonna lose that many more matches this week though. I think that Pascoa versus Agent super close. I don't know much about Kaz. I know Xkume is also a very good player, so Shep won't be taking it. Won't be taking the match lightly at all. Especially because this team definitely wants that. We'll definitely want to go for that 1 seed, and getting a weak win would be very good for them to put their to get towards that. I think that Neji, Chicken, and Shep all went down there, and Pascoa versus Agents, pretty toss up. But I think that I think even with that, I think even if Agent, I think MPH gets some good points though. And if Agent wins, then that probably really helps secure them playoffs.
Yeah. So NPH was looking like they could have had a big loss week and then fallen out of playoff contention. I think actually with that win in the top seed, Nails, who was carrying for the Clowns, losing already, I kind of feel like that kind of locks No Pros here up in there.
Yeah, it probably does.
The rest of the seeds, I mean, can sort of trade around. As you can see, everyone has a pretty similar win rate. I mean, German Chef is almost a GM, but almost everyone is that high of player quality, anyways.
Yeah, Pascoa missed GM by a game win during the last time they were doing things for the last time they were getting America's GMs. Neji's attended multiple MTs. Shep has attended multiple MTs. Nails has attended a lot of them as well. Same with Chicken. Their whole team is like Masters Tour players. It's really insane.
It just goes to show how stacked Pro is.
Yeah. For sure.
Speaking of how stacked Pro is, we aren't even talking about Brushy Tuna versus Hyperizon this week.
We are not. Yeah. Hyperizon's having a down season. I would guess they're probably not taking it quite as seriously, or maybe they're struggling with the season. Who knows? Like the meta of the season. I feel like that
one can only speculate for right now.
Yeah, with how much with how like well they've done. Like every team is. It's very difficult to think that a team is going to be outstanding and be top finalist every season. They have been that for the past 2 or 3 seasons at this point.
They've literally for no they've had incredible performances in every season they've competed in, which has been like 3 or 4 seasons. So frankly,
Yeah.
the fact that it took this long for them to have an off season, regardless of how
Yeah.
off that performance was, is honestly incredible to me and really shows how often consistent and talented this group is, considering that their roster has remained the same the entire time.
Yeah, for sure. Um,
So that's just my take, but you know.
Darter says you can't spell not seriously without 6 DQs. So I guess they've taken some DQs, which is something you don't like to see, or something like that has happened. I don't really know. I haven't been keeping track of the pro stats, but
I didn't realize that. Yeah,
I
that's
didn't know. I didn't
interesting.
know what was going on either. But
I
you know,
guess,
they're
yeah.
very. I mean, they're a good team, and you know, they really. These guys have been pretty much playing Pro Series every week for so long.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're gonna.
Next season,
So
maybe
maybe
their
bounce back.
star player won't be in the 5 seed.
Yeah.
But that's sort of enough of Black Conference,
Oh
I think.
man. Yeah, for sure. So we have one match out of the Pink Conference that we're gonna talk about is got one result already. So take us through this one, Jerini.
Yeah, I mean, so there were sort of two somewhat important matches for playoffs in Black, and it's kind of the same in Pink. I picked Aussie Pro Mafia versus Undivided because I thought it had the highest chance of going Undivided's way and being an upset, and therefore, having a chance to rearrange the teams going in the playoffs. Um, with the current status of things, the team that was in second place has the bye. So,
Yeah.
if we can clear that bar, then you're locked in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Aussie Pro Mafia, I believe Aussie Pro Mafia started 10 points behind, and they've made 2 points
Yeah.
towards it. But so if they get 2 wins this week, they will sort of also lock into playoffs. But I think Undivided could actually take a huge week here, since Bone Masher is playing on this other team. We've got Oddlaw versus Kelthrag, Quake Lord already losing to Chewy, Reverb versus Sensei, Bone Masher probably losing to Dreadhead, and then Maxibon versus Starlax in the 5. And Starlax subbing in for Magnificent, who is the captain.
Magnificent. Or no, you're right, Magnificent. Damn it.
Magnificent, Magnificent. European names, right?
Great player.
But yeah, he's unable to play. So Starlax subbing in and already doing well, and you can see doing very well in Hero as well. I think he just sort of clicks with this meta, and so I think the Dreadhead and Starlax are going to seal up the week for Undivided. And then it's, whether Kelthrag and Sensei 6 end up taking it over Oddlaw and Reverb. That is sort of the question.
Yeah, I mean, I really like. I know, and am friends with pretty much all the players on Aussie Pro Mafia. I don't really know that much about Undivided. Obviously I know Starlax. Chewy getting a win
Yeah.
is huge, so really good job by him. Quake is definitely no slouch, playing Hearthstone.
Chewy, I feel like I've heard that name. Like it's a pretty big player,
Yeah,
but I could
he's
be
a
wrong
really good
about
player.
that.
Yeah.
yeah, I think banning Rogue was just a very good respect, and then
Hmm.
getting Warrior banned on the crackback left. I think probably Hunter in a very good position.
Yeah. For sure. I think Aussie Pro Mafia is gonna. They only need 10 points overall this week because they have the tie break. So I think they'll.
Right. That's what makes this interesting.
I think they'll get the points to clear. I think Aussie Pro Mafia makes playoffs. I think a lot. I think there's a big chance that APM does what F2L hasn't been able to do recently, which is have all their teams make playoffs. Like as a whole,
Yeah.
all the APM teams are doing really well.
Speaking of F12, they also have a chance. I just think
Yes.
that they're up against a harder team in Sheepies.
Yeah, Sheepies is really good.
Yeah, and they have to similarly have just like a very huge week
Yeah.
in order to make it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. F2L has faltered the last couple of weeks from a strong start. I mean, there's really not that many weeks, but 8 weeks is still like a decent amount. So and you can't really take that many weeks off in any part of the season. And I'm sure like no team in pro does that, like generally, but or at least the top teams like have really like been putting the pedal to the metal and winning every week. Um, so yeah, I think APM gets there. Maybe they could lose in a close one and still make playoffs. So, I don't know if that's what's gonna happen, but all I know is I think they're gonna get there.
Yeah. If it's close, Undivided will not make playoffs. If it is not close, then Undivided has a chance to upset.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Very, very interesting going into the week.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. I mean, I totally forgot about Popeyes having the bye this week, so that really
Yeah.
does make this interesting as far as do we think that they're going to make it, or
Oh,
do
I
we
think they
think
will.
that I think so too, but it's still going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah, because Sheepy's sitting in third right now. If she even if Sheepy's like I think Popeyes gets the 4. It's the like the bottom seed of Pink going into playoffs. I'm pretty sure because Popeyes is sitting in like second place. Maybe I'm wrong. No, maybe they if they did happens, do they not get in? I have to like look at the standings again. For some reason, I have them on the notes. I can just um I do think. Oh, yeah, Sheepies. Yeah, even if Sheepies and Aussie Pro Mafia passes them, I don't think the other two teams do, and so they make playoffs off of that as the last seed. And 5 Boxing Wizards will be the 1 seed out of Pink, very likely. Yeah, no, APM won against them in week 1. That was really huge.
So that means they actually need 9 points to pass them.
They need 8 points from here because they have 2.
Oh yeah, 8 points. Yeah, right.
So they just need to scrounge like.
Well, no, wouldn't they need 7? Oh no, you're right, 8.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, so
what
even
am I doing?
if they lose every match 3-2, they would make playoffs in Undivided.
Yep.
Undivided actually would be challenging. Would probably could knock Sheepies out at that point. But we'll see. Anyways, that is this week in PHL for previews. Next week we will have brackets for Legacy and brackets for Pro. We'll have we're gonna have.
Well, actually, I don't think we won't have full brackets for Legacy though, because won't the results of those?
Yeah, but I'll have
the-
I'll have a little prelim bracket. That'll
Okay.
show the wild card. Yeah. So there's a lot of matches to cover next week. We will definitely be covering less hero matches because of that. So I don't know actually. We'll see. We'll see what we end up doing. But Anyways, you'll have to tune in next week to see how we cover everything. I gonna pull us back to the main screen. We can close out the show.
Well, Fish, I mean, that's the big question. What matches do we have to look forward to on stream this week?
Awesome. Well, thank you for for that question. We have some very, very interesting matches this week on stream, and it all starts tomorrow night after Wild and Out. At 8 p.m.
Bum,
we
bum,
have
bum.
8 p.m. we have Legacy Series Gold Conference. We have Agent PWE of Agent PLE in the Light Showers versus Epic Mingo of the Cult Legacy. 1 seed match coming at you there. 9 p.m. after that match, we are going to have Donde of Boner Jams 03 versus Lotus Knight of At Diamond Hero Series action. Casters will be some combination of Heat Shock, myself, Nice Jewish Owl, and NJO will be some form of us will be casting. Friday night fights, some stuff going here. We have NA. We have an America's Wild Series Green Conference match. We have Memnarch of Hair Club versus Nine Eyebrows of Mad Scientists. And then 9 p.m. we have the first lobby of the final week of Battleground Series. And then following that we'll have Legacy Series Silver Conference Drago Ninja of Wallet Warriors versus Bone Masher of APM. That's awesome. We get to see Bone Masher play on stream. Pog. That'll be very likely Saku and Corden. Salty Saturday, I am not aware of any matches yet for Salty Saturday. I'm not sure about that quite yet, but before Salty Saturday, we will have a Schoolstone Saturday Wild Match. Bone Mashers playing twice this week on stream. We have from the America's Wild Series a cross-conference action. We have Bone Masher from the Aussie Pain Merchants versus NJO of Owl of Overpowered Wild Leaderboards. Ooh boy, them casters underestimate them clearly. Very good season for this team. I'm very happy with how your team has done this season. Much better than mine. Sunday Schoolstone, nothing yet. If anyone does it, be Lotus Knight with his caster buddies. And for my wild match, it'll be I'll get either myself and another caster or 2 other wild casters to be casting for that. And finally, Sunday Showdown. It all ends there. We're gonna have Legacy Series Silver Conference, Astro Frog of Dirty Mike and the boys versus, and I didn't write his opponent's name down, but I can remember it. It's not Justin.
It's Jimbo.
Or it's Jimbo from wait, no.
From Not Justin.
Is it not his legacy match then? Might be his hero match. No, it's Astro versus Button in Astro versus Button.
Astro's in the 2. I totally forgot.
Astro's in the 2 against Button. Yeah. And then but 9 p.m. will be Battlegrounds, the final lobby of the season. So that's what we got on stream this week. Some very, very interesting matchups. Some good Legacy Series matches that all have good playoff implications. So make sure you're tuning in the THL all weekend long to see which players and which teams are going to get into the playoffs for Legacy and Pro, and to continue to see this crazy hero season play out, as well as Wild. We have 2 Wild matches on stream, so we'll see how the Wild series plays out and which teams will get into the playoffs.
Yeah, DMB versus Not Justin is like one of those extremely tight conference matches, and being that is in one of the last stream slots, that is going to be very hyped to watch.
Oh yeah, for sure, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's gonna do it for Tavern Talk this week. Thank you everybody for watching. JR, why don't you go ahead and close us out?
Yeah, thank you all for joining us. It's been a fun show. Like we said, we'll be excited to talk about what the playoffs are actually going to look like next week. It'll be very exciting to see how these matches unfold. And we hope you guys will tune in next week to watch all the action, all the hot takes, and all of the ways in which our takes from this week may or may not have aged badly. All right? You all enjoy the rest of your week. Stay safe, and we will see you guys next week. Take care, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.